First time here in Argentina?
Yes,
Yes.
first time south of the equator.
Oh, yeah? And your first impression, what do you think about our country?
People are so warm.
Yeah?
Everybody kisses you.
And this is, I think, thinking in your history, this is very important. People being warm and being, I don't know, being kind.
My experience has been that when you're in your difficult hour, the fact that people can reach out to you and care and share makes all the difference in the world.
Let me tell you that it's very, very hard to make a question, I don't know, to make an interview with you, because first of all, I think you are a mother, and I think, tell me your first memory when I say Naftali.
Music, and a very
Music?
He played the guitar and the flute, and he sang in choirs, and a very cynical sense of humor.
This is nice. A smart person.
Oh, very so. A teenager.
A teenager.
Yeah.
And he wanted to be exactly what? He wanted to develop what kind of, profession, whatever?
He was in 11th grade, so he was still, busy doing his exams and starting to take life seriously and taking responsibility over his own things. Everything was still open. It was all potential. It's hard for me to say what he would have been doing now. I mean, now I know. Now he would be probably doing his first steps out of high school. But in the future, who knows?
Who knows? Yes. If you allow me, I'm very impressed because your smile. You always smile. It's a nice smile. And how you can get this smile after your personal story with Naftali?
There is definitely a lot of pain and sadness in our life, but there's also an awful lot of blessing in our life. And I try to give space to everything. I try to weep when it's time for me to cry. I feel I have no problem doing that. And yet I try to experience everything. And there's a lot of joy and there's a lot of blessing. There's something I paraphrased from Alan Parker. He's an American.
Yes.
So my paraphrase says, I can feel pain. I don't have to become my pain. I can feel sorrow. I don't have to become my sorrow. And
big difference.
Yeah.
Yes.
In our inside, we have a lot of everything, a lot of blessing, a lot of joy, a lot of pain. So
What did you learn from Naftali?
I'll speak about what I learned from this experience. That people could really care. That in a world where hundreds of people are murdered every week and nobody even winks, 1 million of people lost sleep because 3 kids didn't come home from school.
How important is God for you before and after this situation?
I'm aware of this concept of people having a breakdown in their faith when they don't get what they want. To me it seems irrational, because before there were bad things happening to other people, and I was a believer, and now something bad touched our life. So what changed? For me, it's more connecting to the fragile and vulnerable side of life, and that's a lesson in humility, and that for me is a lesson in faith. It gives us proportions. So it's being connected, it's being dependent.
Yes. Tell me about your family.
Thank God I have other children, and
Thanks
we're
God. Yes.
Yes, thank God. I'm very thankful. We're coming along. We're dealing with things, and we try to keep the whole spectrum open, not to color our life with one dark color, but to be open to joy, to healing.
And ages?
My oldest is 20 and my youngest is 5.
5.
Yes.
And you are prepared to explain to him or to her, I don't know, the youngest it's a boy? It's
boy.
A boy. And his name?
Shlomo.
Shlomo?
It's like Solomon.
Okay. And are you prepared to explain to Shlomo what happened with Naftali?
I don't want to raise him on hate or on anger. So I don't want to generalize. but he has to know that there's evil in the world, and he has to know how to differentiate. So he would never, speak of all people this way or that way. I met his kindergarten teacher the other day, and she said that people were the children, 5-year-old kids, were talking politics, and he said he was saying to them, "Oh, you're wrong. It's not like that. There's some good people and there's some bad people, and you shouldn't say that. Say all Arabs, all Jews." Or I want him to be to know how to call evil when he faces it, because otherwise there's no good. But not to generalize hate or even name groups of people that not to be able to recognize them as human beings.
Okay, you talk about bad person, bad people, hate, and what exactly mean for you bad people when you are talking about this? You're thinking what?
Specifically, we live in the Middle East, but now it's also in Paris and it's all over the world. So I'm never going to say anything about all Muslims or about all Arabs. I met some wonderful, wonderful people that came to my home when I was searching for my son and when we were mourning. But when you speak about ISIS, when you speak about arbitrarily, hurting innocent people in a theater in Paris, that's evil. I call that evil.
Tell me about this, because last Friday, not this, the other one, it was shocking. Again, all over the world, it was incredible. And tell me about your feelings about this.
Just like anybody's feeling when there's is arbitrary the right word? Just people, innocent people are being hurt with no address except causing evil. It's horrifying, and that's the place where I think we have to know how to name evil and not blur the picture. But definitely, once you say that. We want to live in peace and harmony with as many people in the world as possible.
I heard for the first time, I don't know, 10, 20 years ago, the word resiliency. And it was very hard to explain, to get the meaning of this word. For you, what is resiliency?
It's interesting. I think to some extent, resilience has to do with flexibility. It's not an all or nothing world. We kind of grow up in a generation where we feel that with enough technology and medicine, we'll all live happily ever after, and it's going to be a rose garden. And it doesn't work that way. The world is more complicated than that, and our life is not all about black and white. And sometimes we can experience pain and loss, and still see the other parts of life and the blessing. And it's not an all or nothing thing. Resilience has a lot to do with being able to give place in your life for different emotions, and for sorrow and for joy, and try to keep on experiencing everything.
That is very nice, because we used to live, to speak between black and white, and this is not good.
It has nothing to do with resilience, because if it's black or white, so once it goes the wrong direction, it's gone.
Yes. And I think a lot of families, women, are trying to get this sense of life. I mean, like you are trying to explain. Talk to them, please.
You're talking about people that experience loss?
Yes. For me, it's very hard to talk about a young boy murder. It's amazing. I have to confess that I feel it's an irrational thing, and it's hard to me to say exactly, to use exactly the words to describe this situation.
The loss is tremendous. Yet, our life is surrounded by a lot of grace, by a lot of blessing. I think people should give themselves permission to go with it. There's no right way to deal with loss. I've seen people try to do it right, like there's a way that you can. And it's more about experiencing it, and sometimes just, you know, when it's too painful, just breathe. And then letting the joy back through the door. And trying to be there in full, and not trying to follow some protocol, like there's a right way to do this.
Rachel, what is exactly for you peace? When you hear the word peace?
In an ideal world, it would be harmony among people, and caring and connecting, and the feeling of security when you live your life. Since our world isn't ideal, and I'm not so naive, it's somewhere halfway. You know, not everybody getting what they want, but trying for the good people to cooperate with each other and deal with the problems.
Here in Argentina, there's a way to explain some difficult things. Let me try to translate. It's like, if it happened, it is convenient, or something like this. I don't like this expression, but it's very useful here. If it happened, if something hard happened, it is because it is convenient.
To who?
To the person who lived this situation. I mean, for example, if you have a loss, it is because the universe, God, I don't know, it is going to explain you why happened.
My theology is that I don't play God games. I don't presume to know how he runs the world, or it runs the world.
Whatever, yes.
Whatever. I never make such assumptions. It's more about, for me as a religious person, living a life with God and trying to do the right thing and trying to better my life, my family life, the world, but never assuming to know why something happened and what the big plan is. I'm sure there is a big plan, but it's beyond me.
I suppose you have a lot of questions every day, every single day. I don't know, remembering Naftali, and where is Naftali right now?
My 6-year-old says that he comes with her to school every day. So I have to believe her. I had a few minutes before the funeral in the room alone with him.
Wow.
I felt it was his body. It wasn't my son. So I'm convinced that there is an existence, a spiritual existence.
Like a soul, or
a soul, yeah. I experienced very sharply the fact that the flesh is the flesh and the spirit is something else.
Yes.
And just being with him in the room and saying, that's not my son.
Just alone with him?
My husband and me. So I don't have the big answers, and I can live with that.
Yes, you have big answers. It's very, I don't know exactly if the word is nice, but it is peaceful to hear it. It's incredible. I just want to say shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom, shalom. And
you know, shalom is both hola and peace. Peace,
and hola and peace. As it's a pleasure. It's a honor to have you here.
Same here.
Feel that Infobae is your home, and shalom again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.